Hi guys, on this installment of PJ Cooks Sexy Food, we're going to take one of my mother's old classic recipes for her meat pie, and we're going to make some revisions using ground turkey, using some provolone, some wine, and we're going to kick it up a notch. So let's get started.
Okay, so the first thing that we're going to need to make our meat pie that we're doing today is we're going to need 2 pounds of ground turkey. We're going to need about 8 slices of smoked mozzarella. We have a cup of white wine. We have 16 ounces of shredded mozzarella. And we have 2 cans of large buttermilk flaky layer biscuits. I know I'm using a store-bought item like this, but you know what? It's perfect. This is going to be absolutely delicious. It's going to take me right back to my childhood. Okay, so the next ingredients that we're going to use is we're going to use an 8-ounce package of sliced cremini mushrooms. We have 1 large onion that's diced into a medium dice. We have a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. We have 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of pepper, 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning, 2 teaspoons of fresh parsley, 1 6-ounce can of tomato paste, about 4 garlic cloves that are thinly sliced, and 3/4 of a cup of chicken stock. Okay, so to get things started in our large saute pan, I'm going to start off with a few tablespoons of our oil, about 1.5 tablespoons. I'm going to get that good and hot. You can see it's already starting to shimmer. And now I'm going to add in our ground turkey. And I'm going to cook up our ground turkey until it's nicely brown and just like a coarse ground meat. Yeah, our turkey is starting to cook up a little bit. So at this point, I want to add in a good pinch of salt, a good pinch of pepper, and a pinch of our Italian seasoning. And we're going to keep this cooking for another couple. While we're waiting for our turkey to finish browning, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take our biscuits. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in the corners. I'm going to smush our biscuits in. And basically what we're doing here is we're creating a crust with these biscuits. I'm going to go ahead and add these biscuits all around. You can smush them in together, let them overlap a little bit. This way you get a nice scallop edge over the top. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep lining our tray with our biscuits. Okay, so there we go. I went ahead and I finished placing our biscuits in our pan. I'm going to set this off to the side while we finish our filling. Okay, so our turkey has been cooking. You can see how it's got nice and brown and crumbly. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and add in my onion. And we're going to cook that with the turkey until it becomes nice and soft. I'm going to give it another pinch of pepper, another pinch of our salt, and another pinch of our Italian seasoning. We're basically layering our flavors. So we're going to cook this for a couple of minutes till the onions are nice and soft. Okay, so I went ahead and I transferred my turkey and my onions to a bigger pan. So this way I could use this pan. I'm going to add a little oil to it, get that oil good and hot. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start to saute our mushrooms. Our oil is just beginning to smoke. It's good and hot. I'm now going to go ahead and add in all our mushrooms. Going to get them all in the pan nice and flat. And I'm just going to let them sit for a minute or two. I'm not going to move them. I want them to get nice and golden brown. Okay, so as you can see, our ground turkey is nice and softened. Our onions are getting nice and translucent. This is perfect. Once our mushrooms are browned, we're going to go ahead and toss them into this. So you can see how nicely browned our mushrooms are. I'm going to go ahead and add those to our turkey and onions. Now this is the pan that we originally started cooking our vegetables in. So our turkey, our onions in. So what I want to do is I want to deglaze that pan with our wine, and then using a rubber scraper, I'm going to keep this on the heat. I'm going to scrape up all those brown bits on the bottom of the pan. Okay, so I went ahead and I tossed the mushrooms in. Now, with this is still on the heat, I'm going to add in our sliced garlic, and we're going to saute that just for a few moments until the garlic becomes fragrant and we lose that raw, harsh garlic flavor. This stage of the game, now it's time to add in the rest of our pepper, rest of our Italian seasoning, last drizzle of oil that we have, rest of our salt, and we're going to stir in our tomato paste. This is 1 6-ounce can of tomato paste. Don't leave anything behind. And we're going to stir this in, and we're going to let this cook for just a few minutes. Okay, so our wine is reduced a bit, and I've scraped up all the bits from the bottom of the pan. I'm going to go ahead and add that to our turkey with the mushrooms, the onions, and the tomato paste. See how nice and golden everything's getting. The tomato paste started to toast a little bit in the bottom of the pan. This is perfect. Now we'll go ahead and add in our wine. Let that cook in. At this point, now is the time we're going to add in that chicken stock. And we're going to let this simmer on the stovetop until the sauce is nice and reduced and the pan is almost dry and our turkey has absorbed all those flavors. That should take about, I would say, 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, so pulling our filling off the heat, you can see how the pan is basically dry on the bottom when we push everything to the side. It still has a lot of liquid to keep it nice and moist. Now let's go ahead and assemble our pie. Okay, so pulling our biscuit bottom that we created earlier, we're going to take half of our filling. I'm going to sprinkle this all over the bottom of our pie that we created, packing it in as we go. Okay, just like that. Pack it all the way in. Okay, now that that's in place, what I want to do is I want to take our slices of provolone cheese and we're going to lay those down in the middle. So this is going to create a nice layer of cheese in the middle of our meat pie. And you can let them overlap a little bit, that's fine. You can see this is a nice meal. Feed 10 people even with this. Make a nice salad to go with it. It's absolutely delicious. So I'm going to go ahead now and put in the rest of our filling. Now with all our filling in place, our layer of cheese in the middle, now we're going to take that mozzarella and we're going to mound this right over the top. Don't be chintzy on the mozzarella on this one. Look how good this looks. Now, if you wanted to make this with anything else besides turkey, as a kid, we did this with ground beef. You can make it with ground lamb, ground pork. You can even make it with sausage meat, ground sausage. That's absolutely delicious. Now, what I'm going to do here, just to give it a little finished touch, I'm going to take a couple of slices of tomato. I'm going to put that right across the top. And I'm going to center them in just a way so that this way when we slice this and we get our 8 servings, every serving is going to have a little piece of tomato on top just to make it nice and pretty. So now I'm going to pop this into a 350-degree oven until our biscuits are fully cooked. Could take anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes depending upon how it goes. Okay, so our pie has been in the oven for about 35 minutes now. You can see how beautiful our biscuits have gotten. They're nice and fluffy and they're golden brown. If you were able to see the bottom of our pan, it is beautifully golden brown as well. To finish it off, just give it a sprinkle of parsley over the top. Let this sit for at least 20 minutes for everything to cool down, for the meat to settle before you cut into it. If you cut into it too soon, it's just going to crumble and fall apart. But by letting it sit, it will get nice, beautiful slices. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe. I hope you try it at home. Thank you for tuning in to PJ Cooks Sexy Food. We'll see you next time.